Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So finally the Yondu's buff details are posted here, and we're gonna go through them to check out what's changed and whether this buff has any promise or not. And I must say, too long didn't read version of this is that this might be, I know it's gonna be a shocker, but one of the laziest but at the same time most effective buffs potentially that we see on champion. And I'm saying that for a specific reason that I'm going to explain slightly further in the video. So I went through ability by ability, compared with current version of Yondu, matched the star rating that's reflected here and everything else. And the biggest change here is the fact that the chance to inflict bleed with your Yaka or strikes has been increased from 25% to 40%. So that is a positive change. The amount of bleed hasn't changed. It's exactly the same. The duration is exactly the same. The potency of armor break is slightly increased, but it's nothing major to rave about either. However, the bigger update here is that all attacks have a chance to pilfer not only armor buffs now, but also prowess effects. So Yondu can be very effective anti-prowess champion, where if you go up against mutants, you can easily get rid of them. And now you will be stacking up armor buffs on yourself by doing so. Now, granted, those armor buffs don't really help you in any way, aside from making you tankier. But you can stack up armor ups, and that can make him potentially a havoc option, maybe. Even though it would be interesting to see how it interacts with bleeds and everything else. But still, because Havoc does have access to prowess. Right, all that being said, rest of this stuff hasn't changed at all. Opponents suffer 10% combat power rate reduction per debuff on them. Obviously, this ability gets slightly more potent now, because you will have more chance to apply these debuffs. And heavy attacks, so 50% offensive ability accuracy, that was as is, basically unchanged. 100% offensive ability accuracy during this attack. Again, exactly the same thing. And the heal block durations have been slightly increased from 10 and 20 seconds to 12 and 25, as we can see here. If you take level 1, then yeah, it used to be 10 and 20 seconds. And now it is 12 and 25, so slightly longer heal block. Obviously, Yondu needs much more than that. Virtually all of the big help for Yondu comes here. So number 1, you get 455 block penetration, that is as was, but the change is that for each special attack the opponent has launched during this fight, gain a passive fury granting 697 attack rating for 14 seconds. 697 attack rating basically constitutes as 33% fury buff. And typically, if you have been baiting out level 1s throughout the fight, assuming that the combat power rate hasn't been significantly altered, you're probably going to have 2 or 3 of these on the very first one, and then you're going to keep growing these out more and more, depending how the fight goes, up until 12. Now, why is this a significant change? It's because previously you only get this attack increase during the special attack. It was max 15 charges, but it was less of an attack increase, so they have increased the amount of fury. And now it lingers basically for 14 seconds, the damage increase. The damage increase is going to affect your bleeds that you inflict with regular hits or heavy attacks or anything else afterwards, and lasts for 14 seconds. The champion that this immediately kind of reminded me for, and that received a lot of benefit by it, is Ultron. Because Ultron's change basically in damage comes from this mechanic, where on your Cauterize, your attack bonus function lingers for 10 seconds after this attack is finished, and Yondu has 14-second duration on that. So if you have been playing Ultron, you know that the 10 seconds isn't quite long enough to consistently maintain it. Neither will have it with Yondu. And Ultron has a benefit of kind of quicker ramp up, if you will. He doesn't need to wait for opponent to launch 12 special attacks, which is quite a lot in shorter fights. So Yondu definitely isn't going to be, a super quick fight finisher, but in any medium to longer level fights, he could actually have a very decent damage. Now, I'm not trying to make a claim that Yondu is going to be another version of Ultron, because Ultron obviously has the double immunities going for him, the fact that he's a robot, the fact that he can inflict plasmas on mutants, and, you know, a bunch of other things, like regeneration and his SIG ability to absorb energy damage, so on and so forth. But Yondu also has a few things here and there, including his heal block, ability to purify prowess now, and damage department entirely is going to rely on this level 2 now. Special 3 virtually is unchanged. Not virtually, but, you know, quite literally unchanged. And unfortunately, signature ability also seems to be completely unchanged to what it used to be. It's exactly the same, where when opponent uses special attack, you inflict weaknesses on the special attack up to 5 seconds. I think the signature ability not changed, and level 3 not changed is... level 3 does have one change, my bad. I apologize for that. The duration of that prowess is increased from 10 to 20 seconds, but realistically speaking, it's still a pointless special attack comparatively to level 2. So they increased the prowess duration, but again, it doesn't matter much. And signature ability is exactly the same. Now, the one bad/good thing, we'll see how it evolves, is the fact that Yondu doesn't have any synergies at all to help him out, even in best case scenarios. He's quite literally one of the poorest synergized champions in the game. Which obviously means he will not be a synergy-reliant champion, which obviously also lowers the max cap of Yondu's damage potential. Now, realistically, Kabam has changed like 3 lines of text in Yondu. What they changed is they increased the chance of bleed from 25 to 40%. That's it. They added the word prowess next to armor ups that he can pilfer. So he can pilfer now armor ups and prowesses. And they gave him furies for 14 seconds instead of an attack increase only during special attack. So it's a very, very minimalistic change. But I don't want to minimize the potential impact that Yondu might receive from this. Because if you put it all together, he has ability to inflict weakness, bleed, armor break-ins, bleed immune opponents, and have, in effect, plus 400% attack increase if he has max 12 furies. Problem might be ramp-up time, obviously, but each is 33%, so for 3, yeah, he can get up to plus 400% attack on his level 2 with his max 12 passive furies. It also could actually synergize very, very well with special 2 boosts, if you're honest, because that could be quite fun. But here we are. So, do I think Yondu is going to be Ultron? No. Again, because he's missing the immunities, he's missing a bunch of other stuff. And ability to remove prowess now isn't that rare. Like, we have synergies that allow Sentinel and Omega Sentinel to do it. We have Nimrod who does it. We have War Machine and other champions who are capable of similar things. Do I think his damage is going to be really good? Maybe, but I doubt it. As in, like, for instance, we have seen Kang, who can get 400% attack increase in the fight with Apocalypse Synergy. And Kang does decently good damage, but it's not like he's, like, insane super hard hitter. So, it's going to be a tricky one to see. I'm not kind of super enthusiastic, but at the same time, I'm kind of leaving a door open a little bit that maybe this has bigger impact than it initially seems. This potentially could have. Unfortunately, I can't say that I'm, like, blown away by this improvement on the champion, but it's definitely not meaningless either. It will make him significantly better, in my opinion. Just not necessarily good enough to warrant using Catalyst on him. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the